Hi, y'all. Welcome to today's cleaning video. We have an absolute disaster of a house and a kitchen to clean today. I have had one crazy week leading up to this clean with me video. So if you need some major cleaning motivation and you want to hear a crazy story about the last week of my life, you are in the right place, and let's jump right in. First, I want to talk about the cleaning. I am doing a modified version of the 3-wave cleaning system. This is something that got popularized on YouTube a while back. And it's kind of what I used when I first started basically teaching myself how to clean my house efficiently. And it's basically where you go in 3 waves in a single room. The first wave you go through basically in one big circle in whatever room that you're in. You pick things up, put them where they belong, throw away trash. The second wave you go through and wipe everything down, and then the third wave you do the floor. I have started to do a modified version a few years ago when I had kids because you get interrupted so much. I felt like I was getting absolutely nothing done when I spent all this time picking up a whole room, and then I would get interrupted before I could wipe anything down. And then by the time I got back to the room, I felt like I just had to start over from zero, and it was so frustrating. So this is a really good example in this video of how I do it now. It's not as apparent in some of my other videos because normally my house doesn't ever get this messy before I get to clean it up. So this video is a really great example of what I do. So as you can see, I'm starting literally at one end of the room and just working my way down. I am taking things up, throwing trash away, putting things where they belong. But instead of waiting for the whole room to be picked up to wipe things down, I wipe the counter down that I just finished. So if I just finished that counter, like I just finished that one and I just finished the stovetop, then I wipe them down right when I'm done with them so that I know if I get interrupted by something or by my kids, that countertop right there is perfectly clean. And if I set something down on it, it's a clean countertop that isn't going to get any like kitchen grease or anything on whatever it is I just sat down. So now I've worked my way over to the sink. I cleared off the counter over here. Yes, there were shoes. Yes, there were a bunch of cups. Yeah. Let's get into the story time and I can kind of explain some of that. Not really the shoes, just that I probably stepped in mud and washed them off and then set them on the counter like a freak to let them dry. But anyway, so on last Sunday, my son got sick. One of my kids got sick. That night, he started running a fever. Thankfully, it was just kind of like a standard cold, and he's totally fine now. But of course, he still has to stay home. He's still miserable. It really sucks. That same night, we had flash flooding in our area, and we found out the hard way that the people who renovated our house skipped a major part of like home building and home renovation 101, which is to seal your windows properly. So when all of that flash flooding happened and there was a ton of water on the ground that had nowhere to go, it came into our basement windows. Our window wells and the windows themselves were not properly sealed. So, yeah, the water just built up on the side of the house and had nowhere to go but literally directly into our walls. So that was a time. And of course, it was the worst, and it came in one single window that was in my kids' room. So, that was inconvenient. Of course, our basement technically flooded, but it was like really the lightest flooding scenario that you can think of. The water was mostly in the kids' room and it bled over into the playroom. We did have to cut a hole in the wall, rent carpet fans, rip up the carpet, and rent a industrial size dehumidifier, but we have since gotten all the water out. We did have to replace the carpet padding in the kids' room because we just could not get it dry, and we did not want to risk any mold growing, especially in the kids' room, for obvious reasons. But the carpet was able to get dry when we ripped it up. That makes it sound like so intense, but we literally just lifted it up, rolled it up out of the way to dry and try to dry the pad underneath. We got the wall completely dry. Everything is totally fine, and my husband was able to replace the carpet padding and relay the carpet, and now we are good to go in that respect. And somebody is coming to seal our window wells and our windows very soon, and we will be good to go. Now, So that started Sunday night. I was using the dehumidifier and changing out the water and running the fans and moving the fans around and checking and just trying to make do with what I had cleaning wise, like taking care of the upstairs. Of course, then because it was taking over our kids' room and our playroom, they had to sleep in a separate room. The toys came upstairs. It was pretty freaking chaotic. Okay. Then, on top of all of that, our dryer stopped working on Thursday night. It stopped working. Now, pause from the story because I just finished off the kitchen after loading the dishwasher and scrubbing out the sink. I moved all of this clean clothes from the dining room table. Yes, it was clean, obviously, because my kids' room was not able to be used. I had to put it somewhere. It was on the kitchen table. Wiped it down and ran my vac mop in the dining room and kitchen area. And now we are moving on to the living room, which isn't as bad, just more toys than usual, again, because the playroom was completely unusable. But now everything is going back to the playroom because I have a pretty strict toys only in the playroom rule in my house, because otherwise, like I just said, it just gets so chaotic and there's toys scattered over every single room and it drives me nuts. So my kids already know they can have toys in their room, they can have toys in the playroom, and that's about it. So all these toys are going back to the playroom. Any trash and cups are getting picked up and taken to the trash or the sink in the kitchen. And now we are going to vacuum all of the crumbs out of this couch. And we're also going to do the floors in here. And I wiped down the coffee table with a multi-surface cleaner. So back to the problems I've been having. Okay. My dryer stopped working on Thursday night, which is horrible, especially for a mom, because we just have to do laundry absolutely nonstop. It is quite hectic to not have a dryer. It is quite inconvenient. And even though I'm trying to like line dry stuff, again, you have to consider that my laundry room is also in my basement. So we actually had to take all of the furniture out of the playroom, put it into the laundry room. So it's all cramped in there. It's hard to move around. I have no room to hang any clothes to dry. It has just been absolute chaos in the downstairs area. So it was like practically impossible to actually get any laundry done, even if I was going to just try to hang it to dry it somewhere. Absolutely impossible. And then Friday night, because we had this planned previously and we didn't want to cancel because it like isn't really a big deal to just hang out in the upstairs of our house, we had our friends come and stay with us. Friends from the last town that we lived in. They were going on a little summer vacation and they were going to pass through our new town on their way back home and stay with us for 2 days. And it was absolutely incredible. But of course, as you can imagine, having your basement like flooding, you're still trying to dry everything out and check everything. Now they have their two little kids that they have no playroom to play in. And our children were sleeping in our guest room, but now our guests have to sleep in our guest room. So our children had to move to our room. It was just chaotic to say the least. We had an absolute blast with our friends. I wouldn't have changed it for the world. Things could definitely be worse, but this is just a little example of what we were dealing with while all of that was happening. And on top of the leak from the windows and then the dryer not working in the same week, we discovered that also our shower was leaking. And I know that like it kind of doesn't make sense. Like you're thinking like the shower head's leaking or it's leaking in the wall, but really it was just that we have like one of those just standing showers with no tub. And at the bottom where there's supposed to be something that keeps the water into the shower so it doesn't get onto your floor, they did not install it correctly. So then every time we would shower, there was water getting out and it was going like directly under the wood floor. And we were kind of thinking like that's such a weird smell. Like it always smells kind of damp in here, even though I know that it's not the towels, it's not this, it's not that. Like I was trying to problem solve all these things and then all of a sudden we realized, oh, it's going under our floor. Like we have plank flooring in there and it literally was just going right under it. So that was not great. So we also have somebody coming to fix that. And we can't use our shower in the meantime. So this is only a 2-bedroom house, which I mean, a two bathroom house, which is like fine normally. But then the family of just us, the four of us, were using one bathroom, which is also our guest bathroom. So then when we had guests, it was just a lot. As you can imagine, 8 people trying to use one bathtub every night. Quite a lot going on in one week. And I will just also throw in that same exact week, we knew we were buying a flip, guys. We know, from the looks of it, we thought things were done really well, and you guys can see our house. There are things that are done beautifully, like the tiles and the custom cabinetry and stuff like that. But there was also stuff that was not done well, that was not done thoughtfully. And one of those other things was that we also just discovered that the dryer vent that vents, from your clothes dryer out to the outside and like lint comes out of it. Yeah, that comes out underneath our wood deck that these flippers put up, which is, of course, a humongous fire hazard. We're thinking it might have something to do with what happened to our dryer, but we don't really know. Like the heating coil or the moisture situation, like the moisture detector also could be malfunctioning. Not having a clear answer on that as of yet, but that should be fixed very soon for me, and I will definitely update you guys. But yeah, that's going to be something else that we have to fix. Luckily, my husband's very handy. He can fix a lot of this himself. Of course, somebody's coming for the shower in the window wells, but like other random things that are wrong with the house, my husband is able to fix. Thank goodness. Love that. And like the carpet stuff, he could relay the carpet no problem, and replace the padding no problem. So in that regard, we're doing great. Most of our problems are solved except for the dryer at this point. We still had fun with our friends. It was still amazing to see them. It was just quite a crazy week, and I obviously did not keep up with the house while all of that was going on. But as you can see, it is back to its normal good place that I try to keep it at. And I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And if you still are cleaning along with me and you need some more cleaning motivation, I have an entire playlist right here on the screen and always linked down below. And I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye.